So I was just looking at my YouTube account. We've been talking a lot of things, all NBA trades, and this very interesting one comes up. I check all of my comments, and this is a platform for you guys. But we've been talking all things Laker trades, and someone says, why don't the Lakers just go down or go for Donovan Mitchell? And someone else said, well, that's a thought. So we're going to be discussing, can the Lakers actually go into this trade for Donovan Mitchell? There's been so many grumblings right now about the Lakers, kind of doing an all-in trade with the Utah Jazz to get a boatload of picks. They'd have to get rid of a lot. I'm going to be talking with all of you guys. You guys need to be commenting your thoughts and opinions. But Donovan Mitchell, again, this is something that you guys brought to me, and I'm going to be discussing it. So first and foremost, I love this one right here, and I want to talk about this first. So Fat Buddha 69. Again, this is a platform. My name is the NBA White Guy. I talk all things NBA hoops from a hooper's perspective. This is something I see all of these films out there where they just record what other people are saying, or we listen to ESPN. I wanted our voice to be out there, and I've played hoops my whole life. I got a perspective, and if you like that, then make sure you're tapping that subscribe button, and you click the bell so you're notified every time I do a new video, and I'm going to be doing lots of these videos bringing up your comments, so make sure that you're always commenting on these videos about your trade proposals for not only the Lakers, but everybody. The problem with the Utah's general manager is that he's going to ask for all of our picks, the Lakers picks, 2 first round, 2 second rounds, with the Russell Westbrook and THT. It's Danny Ainge, man. He is going to rob us of those guys. Option 4 is the killer. Wow, that team would be crazy. So option 4, I did a video the other day, and it was a trade package for the Los Angeles Lakers with the Utah Jazz. There's all of this talk about Kyrie Irving and trading, Westbrook and the 2 picks for Irving. That would be amazing. But at the end of the day, you're basically getting back one player. You might get a Seth Curry or a Joe Harris, which would be, you'd have to. Kyrie's great, and it would definitely build this team out. If you're sending THT and Russell Westbrook, you get just Kyrie. You've got to fill that other slot. But, getting a Kyrie is big time. They obviously want to play together, but I'm also seeing that I think Westbrook wants to stay in LA. I think this thing's getting messier than you think. So I think a trade that has been getting talked about is with the Utah Jazz. I want to run this through to you guys. And I got to read it. So what it would be is basically the Los Angeles Lakers could send Talen Horton-Tucker, Gabriel, the 2027 pick, and Russell Westbrook to the Utah Jazz. Obviously, the Jazz could buy out Westbrook. Shelby 500 says the Kyrie trade is over. I kind of agree. And again, you guys comment. Let's talk about this and debate this, what the Lakers should be doing. But I'm talking about a trade with the Utah Jazz because I'm a hooper. Played hoops my whole life. From a hooper's perspective, this team would be an instant contender. Sending Talen Horton-Tucker, Gabriel, 2027 pick, and Westbrook over to the Jazz. You get in return Conley. I've had a lot of comments on my channel. Why would you want Conley? It's an expensive contract. Look, next year they're going to have a lot more space. And everybody's saying, oh, LeBron signed this, and next year they're going to have all this space and they can make a move. This is his 20th season, y'all. We got to make a move now. There isn't any time to waste. Conley coming in is an absolute killer. He's somebody, yes, he shoots, 41% from 3. So now, again, coming from a hooper's perspective, that's all we need in the Lakers. Number 1, we need movement. Standing around and watching LeBron James just dribble the ball is the worst offensive plan. Darvin Ham's talking about bringing in his 4-out, 1-in structure. If you do that, you need shooters. Right now, we don't really have any. So bringing in Conley and next year having the cap space, I think it's a home run. You're also going to get Bogdonovich. The dude is an absolute killer behind the arc. He can make his own shots. He's 6'8". This is a great player, and he's tough. I love those European dudes, especially if they're big, tall, can shoot. So that right there, having these dudes not only starting, they may not even start, but coming in off the bench. The biggest problem with the Lakers last year, LeBron was playing 36, 38, 42, and they went into overtime, it seemed like every other game, and lost, and he was playing 48 minutes, 46 minutes, whatever. So it's killing his body because he is playing too many minutes. So that's what we need to do, is actually have him sit a little bit and rest his body. But the problem is, and you see it all too much, is as soon as he goes to the bench, if they have a lead or they're close to tied, 10-point loss, just like that. So that's something that LeBron, personally, he's got to just take that step and say, you know what, I'm only playing 32 minutes, 30 minutes a game, and I got to trust my dudes. But he's also got to build his players up, instead of having kind of those moments where he's down on his players. So I got a ton of you in the audience. It's your opportunity to chat. You are definitely a hooper because you say it a lot. Hey, man, I played hoops a lot, and thanks for the comment. But what's your thoughts on this trade? I think the Kyrie trade is over with. I love the trade with the Utah Jazz, but somebody, like I mentioned, was bringing up, why don't the Lakers go for Donovan Mitchell? I love this too. He's signed all the way through 2024, 2025. I'm not one of these guys who gets deep into the analytics and contracts and if it can all work out. That's not me. I just like talking about, if these guys can play together. Donovan Mitchell's 25. You'd have him for 3 more years on a not so, I think it's only 30-something million a year. You guys comment what he's making, but that opens up cap space, and he's a dribble penetrate. He's a guy who moves the ball. If you look at Russell Westbrook last season, he played in like 78 games. He set like 50 screens. He's not moving, and that's something that Darvin Ham talking about. He's excited about Westbrook. Well, then I hold you accountable, Ham. Make him move. The Lakers offense has got to start moving around. They got to start setting screens, bringing people off of picks. This is something Donovan Mitchell could do. He could also bring that ball down, and also get buckets. When LeBron goes to the bench, he can carry it. So Shelby says LeBron enjoys playing big minutes. I know he enjoys it, but at the same time, he's got to stop. We got to get him to the postseason. AD's only healthy for 35% of the of the games that he's been a Laker. So one, Anthony Davis, get you some shoes that aren't about this tall. Get some actual, high top shoes. And 2, he's banging down low. This is another trade with the Indiana Pacers that everybody's talking about. And they're like, why would we want Miles Turner? We already have Bryant. We already got AD, because AD doesn't play many games. And if he gets hurt, you only have one center. Why did the Lakers win in the bubble there? They had, I'm telling you the truth, they had freaking Dwight Howard and they had JaVale McGee. I would do anything to get JaVale McGee back on the Lakers. Not only is he great to come in for a couple minutes and be a shot blocker, he was a monster on the bench, getting everybody riled. Chemistry means everything if you're going to win. I played in a lot of locker rooms, and when we're all pissed off and you lose 2-3 games in a row and you're kind of pointing fingers at each other, it's just a whirlwind. You don't trust each other. You just don't have your mindset. But when you get on those great runs, and everything's going good, it's just the momentum. So we haven't seen that. So I'd love to see JaVale McGee come back. Again, I got a ton of you in the audience. We're discussing these Laker trades right now. It's been brought up on my channel a bunch. Why aren't we going after Donovan Mitchell? I think it's a great trade, but I also think that the best trade for the Lakers is what I talked about earlier. Sending THT, Gabriel, 2027 pick, and Westbrook to get Conley, Bogdonovich, Pat Bev. Everybody, we all know he's a dog. And what I just got done talking about is kind of that dog mentality. What did Dwight Howard do? They ended up starting him in the bubble because he was absolutely pestering the other team. And so that's something that he wasn't getting 15 points a game or 12 rebounds. He was pestering that team and making it uncomfortable. So this is another thing that Pat Bev, again, if we're going to, really excel on the defensive end, then we got to absolutely get a dog in the house. There's a free agent out there right now. Can't remember if it's Marquise Morris or Maurice Morris, one of the brothers, but I like him. And Lou Williams is available out there. I'd be getting him ASAP if I was the Lakers. So Donovan Mitchell, we just had Cranston Murphy say, I think I like the Pacers trade a little bit better than the Jazz one. Heild is a sniper, and with AD and Turner protecting the rim, the poor perimeter defense will be exponentially better. Okay, so this is something we should talk about right now too, because the Pacers trade, yes, you'd be getting Buddy Heild, which frustrates me more than anything because they could have had him last year, and DeRozan, but whatever. It is what it is, water under the bridge. But getting him, yes, he's a sniper. And a lot of people are always going to point at percentages. He shoots 40%, 42% behind the three. It's not all about the percentages. When you're a hooper, it's perception, right? Last year, Westbrook, he's been an incredible player forever. I think if he gets his mind right, and a lot of that comes to LeBron backing him, hey, you got this, man. Okay, you bricked it off the side of the backboard. That's fine. Next time you got this. Go get it back on the defensive end. It is those little things that the team can say to back him to get his mental right. But what happened was, I'm sure the coaching and all of the all of the pregame stuff was probably like, let's just let Westbrook sit out there and shoot. He only screened 50 times out of 70 something games, so he wasn't moving, he wasn't doing anything, and they were letting him shoot. Now, if he gets it more in motion, catch and shoot, he's going to do better. But if you've got a Buddy Hield, even if he goes through shooting slumps, it's just you have to stretch that defense out and guard him. You've got to have a hand in his face at all times. And anytime you can get the defense looking to see where you're at, that isn't, a gap or a lane for LeBron James to get in and distribute and kick. So, with no movement, the Lakers they're going to be a terrible team again. That's why I like getting kind of more of an overhaul of players who, are more, dogs, players, playmakers, because that's going to open up the floor a ton. And it's going to bring the pick and rolls out as well too. So the other thing about that Pacers trade, everybody, getting Miles Turner, again, with AD, he has not even played 35% of the games for the Lakers. So please, he's coming back in shape. Everything that we see, he's coming in shape. But every time I see that dude jump, especially bang down low, I swear he's going to blow an ankle or a knee. And it just sucks, man, because he is. Do you guys remember the bubble when he was playing, or not the bubble, the playoffs, against the Phoenix Suns? The Phoenix Suns ended up beating him going to the finals. The Lakers were toying with the Suns. They were beating the snot out of the Suns. They literally were playing with them, having games, doing all that. And every commentator, everybody watching it was like, it's over. The Suns, they don't even stand a chance right now. AD goes down, boom, they lose. So we forget how big of a monster AD is. And there was so many talks this summer of trading him. And I get it. If he gets hurt all the time, it sucks. But if he is an absolute, in tip-top shape, and if he can stay healthy, he is a top 5 player. This is an incredible team. The pick and roll is nasty, and it actually makes the defense have to play. And even though Anthony Davis was shooting like 17% from 3 last year, he had a hand in his face every time. So that's, again, coming from somebody who understands basketball, you're always going to guard AD no matter how bad he's shooting, because he can hit that shot. So some of these players that come in and they're just notorious for being good shooters, you have to respect that. That's the big difference. So Miles Turner also is somebody who shot and made, 1.5 to 2 3-pointers a game last year. So 4 out, 1 in systems, this is something you could put him outside or AD outside at the 4 and then have somebody down low. But I think if you're going to have Anthony Davis and hopefully stay healthy, but, chances are he's going to have to take some games off. And people are like, why do we need Turner then? Because you got to have 3 centers. If AD is going to miss time, you don't want it to go down to just having 1 center and then playing small ball, putting LeBron at the 5. So I think having those big men is the huge success story that they had in the bubble by having Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee, and I love it. And those are also dudes who are great athletic too, so they can do quick pick and rolls, get dunks, but they can pop out and shoot as well. You guys comment down below. If you haven't checked out my channel yet, you're not a subscriber. I am the NBA white guy. I talk all things hoops from a hooper's perspective, and I want to give you guys a platform as well. We only get to listen to the dudes on ESPN and Fox Sports, and hey, let's have a voice. Let's have an opinion like this. So make sure that you're talking about your trade talks that you think are, most advantageous for the Lakers. Or advantageous for the league. We can talk any trade right now. There's a lot of grumblings about. I just heard about Kevin Durant going to the Hornets possibly. That could be a big one. There was 9 teams, I guess, that are in the Kevin Durant trade, but Rudy Gobert kind of screwed that one. He messed up the market, so we'll talk any trade. I got a few of them here. Westbrook only set 50-something screens for a full season. That's enough for me to make him stay home if I can't trade him. Yeah, and I think, again, I want to talk about the psychology behind, some of this too. And I got a video coming out breaking all of this down. Westbrook's pitfalls, I guess, for lack of a better term, last year really comes down to just 100% mental. The dude can play. And I think if LeBron wanted him to come in, there was a reason for it, right? If he bypassed on DeRozan and Buddy Hield, which, hey, we can look back and just ultimate mistake, but they had a plan in place. And what happened was he started kind of the West Brick campaign, missing the shots, and nobody backed him. You could see it out there. And Anthony Davis was hurt. I think they played a total of 11 games together. Anthony Davis, LeBron, and Westbrook. So they really didn't get a good taste of it. And when Westbrook came in and was kind of being forced to do something he wasn't comfortable with, That threw him off. And if you've ever played before, and especially when you're like younger and you're playing up, you're just trying to do anything you can to not make a mistake. And that is something that every time you get the ball, you're like trying not to pass it away. You're trying not to, miss the shot. You're thinking about everything instead of just being a player. Westbrook, his whole career from high school to UCLA to Oklahoma City to Houston to everywhere he's been the man. He's been driving. He's been going and doing his thing. The dude's hit quite a few threes in his career. Like, he can shoot, he can play, but he got in a system where he really didn't have anybody backing him. And during the games, he was really getting booed a lot, and his players really never had his back. So I think this year he could make a massive change and flip if the team backs him a little bit more. So Darvin Ham's been coming out a lot. They just saw Westbrook at the Summer G League or the Summer League or whatever, sitting on the bench with the dudes, getting in their face and helping them. So I think he might end up staying a Laker, but I do know the Lakers are trying to make a trade, and I think that Pacers trade is one that is ultimately one of the best trades that we will find for the Lakers, where you can get a boatload of talent back and have a super deep bench and have shooters all over the place and be able to move the frickin' ball. If I open up the season watching the Lakers again where LeBron dribbles it down and everybody watches him, I'm going to freak out. And Ham needs to be fired right there, because if you're running that kind of system, it's not going to work. We've got to have movement. We got to have picks. We got to have screens. We got to have cuts. Take some chances. And I think the other thing too that I want to talk about is, the defensive end. Obviously, Vogel was a defensive coach. Ham, I think, is going to bring a toughness in. I really wish they would have had Rasheed Wallace come in and be an assistant coach to get into, Bryant, and to get into AD and make these dudes, just tough down low and mentally tough and be them dogs. But, Darvin Ham is going to be it's going to be interesting to see if he can get everybody going on this defensive end. I think if you ever watch those games where LeBron picks up his tempo and plays D. Remember when he used to shut down like D Rose, and actually, 2 years ago when he guarded Donovan Mitchell and shut him down to win that game in the bubble. Like, that was big defensive plays, and it just carries throughout the locker room. It carries into the bench. It carries into the stadium. Every single person watching that game, whether at home, anywhere, says, oh my gosh, look at all the effort he's putting in. And everybody around him does it too. So the leader is not really Jeannie Buss or Rob Pelinka or Darvin Ham. It's freaking LeBron and his effort out there. That's why I say if he can play less minutes, 28, 30, 32 minutes, but like hard minutes, and actually play some defense, the whole team's going to be sparked. I really miss Alex Caruso for that. And to be brutally honest, I really, really miss having Lonzo Ball. That dude brought so much energy. I don't care if he couldn't shoot. That does not bother me one bit. The dude played crazy defense the full 94. He was always getting those steals on the inbound, getting quick layups. There were games where him and LeBron were both getting triple doubles. He could run the point. Like, that was a great player that I wish they never would have got rid of. But you guys comment down below. What do you think about this Donovan Mitchell trade? Can it even happen? Again, I think getting just the one player, it will significantly help this team, but I think we need a little bit more role players. I love the trade with the Utah Jazz getting Conley, Bogdanovich, Pat Bev, and Clarkston. Clarkston, somebody that, people are like, well, he's kind of hit or miss, but if you look at what he did in the postseason, he elevated significantly. He was ascending towards the end of the year, and that's really what we need. But he can come in off the bench too and get you 15, 20, 25 points, kind of do like a Lou Williams role. Lou Williams is a free agent, by the way. Like, how is he not picked up? That dude's got to be the ultimate player in the locker room and just vet, man. I would love to see him actually as a Laker too. Just playing that vet role. Vets are so important in this league. You watch like the Grizz and some of these teams, they're just freakish young talent, but they don't have any vets in those locker rooms to help them in the tough situations in the postseason. You can see it. So we don't need the Lakers getting much older, but that's the other thing about the Donovan Mitchell trade is he's 25 years old. So, and he's under contract for 3 more years. Again, I don't know if it can actually happen or not, but I think that would be a heck of a trade. I think the Kyrie one's kind of beaten over the head. I don't think Durant's going anywhere, although there's been grumblings of all these new trade talks, but Brooklyn wants so much for him. And other comments, were, let's see if I can bring it up. I'm a Jazz fan. No way in heck the Jazz would do this, which I'm glad. And then, someone was talking about Danny Ainge. So, yes, Danny Ainge has that track record of always winning trades. But the thing about the Jazz is you got to realize, like, the process. Think about the process in Philly, right? The year before they sold the farm, they were a Game 7, which went down to the wire with the Boston Celtics for going into, like, the Eastern Conference Final. So they were, like, right there. Philly was good, but they just didn't have quite it. And so they sold the farm off. They went through this entire process. That's really what catapulted this whole, like, draft process thing and acquiring draft picks. And it's looking pretty decent. I mean, it's taken a long time, the process has, but the Jazz could be thinking about that because no free agents really want to go to Utah. That's been proven forever. So you have to draft really, really well. You have to develop really, really, really well, and that's how you're going to be viable. I mean, they had, the best record in the West or even the NBA 2 years ago. So that's probably what Danny Ainge is thinking too. Like, hey, you know what? I mean, a win to the Jazz is just draft capital. Give me as much draft capital as we can possibly do. We're going to go out there. We're going to find some amazing talent, just like we did in Gobert, just like we did in Donovan Mitchell, and really develop these players and be good. So that's just kind of my thoughts. Again, I am your NBA white boy. I talk all things NBA hoops from a hooper's perspective, and I also love giving you guys a platform. I've had quite a few comments from you guys about what you think should happen during this trade. But if you haven't yet and you like this kind of content, I'm not out there just screen grabbing what Woj says and screen grabbing what Windhorse says and replaying it like those other channels. I'm giving you my opinion from a hooper's perspective. So make sure you tap that subscribe button and you click the bell so you don't ever miss a video. I'll be doing daily videos and popping on here live. So you guys come join me and give me all of your commentary of your quote of your trade talks too. Any other trade topics out there for you guys? Anything else you're seeing? I got 60 of you in the audience, so I'd love to hear some of your guys' trades. I really feel that the other trade that people were really talking about is getting Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. I think any kind of trade like that. Again, now I want to talk about the other psychology of this. If you're going to go into this locker room this year and kind of have the same players, i.e. Westbrook there, it kind of feels like it's been tampered with enough, mentally and physically to where they're just like, I'm over this, Sometimes change can be one of the most positive things, whether it's a massive swing. Like, a lot of times we're thinking in the Lakers organization right now that we need a massive overhaul and all these way better players. But sometimes it's just the change. If we can just change that Lakers locker room up a little bit and bring in and honestly rid Russell Westbrook, who I think can be a killer anywhere, I really think that that's going to help the Lakers too. If LeBron, who says he's 100%, comes in, Anthony Davis, who says he's 100%, comes in, we have those two killers playing at a high level, and they don't have to think about Westbrook anymore. They're going to be even more motivated to go out there and win. So some of these trades may be just better for the Lakers mentally than it is, having these players. So I've heard this a ton, and I'd love to hear your comments. Everybody's all about, and it's not Cam Reddish. I believe it's Reddish, your Dookie boy. But what is it about Cam Reddish? Obviously he's a young, freakish talent, tall, can stretch out, but a lot of people have been commenting about, Cam Reddish, but we got to understand what are we giving for it? What are we getting back for it? And how does it help? Because again, the one thing is going to be a change, but two, it's going to be moving without the ball. We need so many screens. We need to be cutting and just making the defense aware of movement so that it opens up lanes for LeBron to drive and kick. So anyways, I'm your NBA white guy. If you like this kind of content, please hit that subscribe button. Click the bell so you're notified every time I do a new video. And if you catch me live next time, bring your trade proposals. All right, homies. Until the next video, we'll catch you later.